What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, all that good stuff. So let's get into this one. So the other main event from last night was Shakur Stevenson defending his title against William Zepeda at 135 pounds, lightweight division. And yeah, I want to say that certainly if you haven't seen this fight, it's a very, very good fight to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought, much as it was a clear win for Shakur Stevenson, it was still an entertaining fight to watch. And yeah, going into it, Shakur Stevenson was playing into the whole Tom and Jerry narrative. He was wearing like a Tom and Jerry hat, I think, in the changing room when I was watching the fights. He was in the dressing room getting ready in a Tom and Jerry hat sort of thing, because there's all this narrative about running, and obviously he's a fighter that utilizes lots of movement. He can be looked at as negative, defensive, and not entertaining, but he certainly turned that narrative around completely by being in the pocket last night. And it started off very, very, very quick. William Zepeda took some of those early rounds for me. He took some of these early rounds, and he done very well for himself, did William Zepeda, in the early rounds, because he was pouring the pressure on Stevenson. Stevenson was sort of getting backed up, and yeah, a lot of those, I think, some of those rounds quite tight, but I can see, for me, yeah, early on, you could say Zepeda, for at least some of those rounds, was having the better of it, having the better of the action with his sort of pressure and just with the sheer volume of shots he's throwing, and he's getting through with his fair amount of shots. And what happened with this one? It was very close, and Stevenson did fire back in bursts, but the overall pattern was, in terms of who's sort of landing more, I'd say Zepeda for those first couple of rounds. But then as the fight wore on, it sort of went this way and that, back and forth. And Shakur Stevenson using a good left uppercut, and Zepeda couldn't stay out of the way of that. He couldn't read that punch at all, see it coming. And as we sort of got into the halfway stage and beyond, sort of round six, round seven, the tide sort of began to turn more towards Stevenson's way, and that's where he kind of took over, and he began to slow the pace down ever so slightly, not by much, but it became more Shakur Stevenson's fight. He began to take over, and impressive thing about Stevenson is that he sometimes can do one at a time and just little bits and bits. But last night he really let his hands go. He really showed Zepeda who was boss. So he made it very clear he was winning the rounds when he won them, because it was combination punching. It was punches in bunches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and he was really letting his hands go. So when Zepeda's trying to give it to him, he's giving it straight back to Zepeda and countering very well. And those rounds, a lot of them towards the latter half, that second half of the fight, was very much, for me at least, it was in Shakur Stevenson's favor. He began to sort of come into his own and dictate the pace of the fight, and light Zepeda up certain times with combinations. So yeah, very impressive. And second half was very, very good for Shakur Stevenson. Overall, very entertaining fight, and rightful winner there in Shakur Stevenson. I'm not sure I'd have it as wide as the judges. I think some of the judges, they only gave Zepeda like 2 rounds or something. I mean, yeah, I don't know whether that's fair, I suppose, but hey, here's what it is. I agreed with them, clear victory for Stevenson. I could definitely see why. I thought he just got better and better as the fight went on. So yeah, exceptional performance by Stevenson. Very entertaining fight, very, very good fight to watch. And yeah, that's impressive. We'll see what he does next at lightweight. But yeah, very impressed. Let me know what you thought of this fight in the comments below. Until next time, MKO Boxing, over and out.